There are stories born from pain, and there are stories born from miracles, but some are born from both, and this is one of them. In the misty valleys of Sichuan, there lived two orphaned brothers who were so inseparable that everyone in their small mountain village called them the Panda Brothers because they clung to each other the way baby pandas cling to their mothers. Their real names were Bao and Lian, and from the day tragedy took their parents in a landslide, they had survived every storm together until the day one of them vanished and the world around the other began to unravel. Bao, the elder, was the quiet protector, strong but scarred, the kind of boy who would take the blame just to keep his brother safe. Lian was younger, curious, fragile in body but wild in heart, always dreaming of a world beyond the mountains. They shared everything: food, dreams, and even the single blanket that kept them warm in their crumbling cottage. But one night, something changed. A tremor shook the mountain, thunder rolled across the sky, and Lian disappeared into the dark forest, chasing a strange blue light that flickered between the trees. Bao searched all night, barefoot, bleeding, screaming his brother's name until his voice broke, but there was no answer, only the whisper of the wind and the sound of bamboo creaking in the cold rain. Days turned to weeks, and hope became a cruel ghost. The villagers said Lian had been taken by the forest spirits who guard the ancient pandas, a myth the elders told in hushed voices, but Bao refused to believe. He walked deeper into the mountains every day, past trails no one dared to cross, until one morning he found something: his brother's bamboo bracelet tangled on a branch, and beside it, paw prints, but not of any panda he'd ever seen. They were enormous, almost human-like, leading toward the hidden valley the locals called the Silent Grove. Bao followed them, and what he saw that day would change everything he believed about life, death, and the bond between brothers. In that silent place, the mist hung thick, the air heavy with something ancient. Deep within, a giant panda white as snow, its eyes strangely human, sat beside a young boy who looked just like Lian but older, calmer, and untouched by time. When Bao stepped forward, the panda raised its head, and the forest seemed to breathe with it. "You shouldn't have come," said the boy who wasn't supposed to be alive. Bao froze. "Lian?" But the boy smiled sadly. "I am, and I'm not." Before Bao could speak, a deep growl echoed through the trees, and the panda stood, shielding Lian. The ground split open, revealing an ancient symbol carved in stone, a spiral surrounded by bamboo leaves. Bao stumbled back, terrified, but the panda placed its paw gently on the boy's shoulder, and in that moment, Bao saw everything. The night of the storm, his brother falling, not into death but into another realm. One the villagers called the Bam, where lost souls and forest guardians meet. Time didn't pass the same there. For Lian, only a night had gone by. For Bao, years. And now, the two worlds had crossed because of the love that refused to die. Lian's spirit had been protecting the pandas, bound to the forest by a promise he made before he disappeared to guard the creatures their mother once saved when she was alive. Bao dropped to his knees, tears mixing with rain, as Lian stepped closer. "You never stopped looking for me," he whispered. Bao reached for him, but his hand passed through like mist. "I tried every day." The panda made a low sound, sad, soft, and Lian's image began to fade with the rising light. "It's not your fault," Lian said. "You gave me your life that night." And in a sudden flash, Bao remembered. The night of the storm, he had pulled Lian from the collapsing path and pushed him upward, taking the fall himself. He was the one who should have died. He had died. The villagers had buried his body, not Lian's. He wasn't standing there as a man, he was a spirit too, kept alive only by his love for his brother. The truth hit like lightning, and Bao's heart broke open under the weight of it. The forest fell silent as realization dawned. The panda turned to him and spoke not in words, but in thoughts. "Love doesn't end. It changes form." The two brothers' souls began to glow faintly, their outlines blurring as the mist wrapped around them. Lian smiled, tears in his eyes. "Then we'll protect them together." The panda nodded, and a wind like a whisper of eternity swept through the valley. When it cleared, there were no footprints, no sound, no trace of them, only two pandas where the brothers had stood, one slightly larger, one smaller, their fur shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Years passed, and the villagers began to tell stories of two mysterious pandas who appeared whenever the forest was in danger, guarding cubs from poachers, leading lost travelers back to safety, always seen together, always vanishing into mist before dawn. They called them the Panda Brothers, guardians of the sacred valley. Some said they were forest spirits, others believed they were angels. But those who looked closely noticed something strange. The smaller panda always wore a broken bamboo bracelet around its paw, and the larger one always followed, never letting him out of sight. One winter, a group of rangers found an injured cub trapped in a snare deep in the woods. As they approached, they saw the two pandas nearby. The larger one nudged the cub gently, while the smaller stood guard, his eyes full of something deeply human. When the rangers blinked, both pandas were gone, but the cub had been freed, and carved into the tree beside it were two names, Bao and Lian. Years later, a researcher studying the forest discovered something
even more mysterious.
A tree shaped like two pandas holding each other, its bark glowing faintly at night. Locals said it was where the brothers first met after death, where the worlds of the living and the spirits touched. When tourists came to see it, they swore they heard faint laughter echoing in the wind, and sometimes two shadows moved among the bamboo even when no animals were near. But the strangest thing of all happened decades later, when a massive earthquake hit the region. The rescue teams reported seeing two pandas leading survivors out of the forest, just before a landslide buried the path completely. Not a single life was lost. And when the survivors looked back, the pandas were gone, leaving only the mark of two intertwined paw prints glowing in the mud. Scientists called it coincidence. The villagers called it grace. The old said, "The Panda Brothers have saved us again." The story spread far beyond the mountains on news, documentaries, even on the internet, but no one could capture the truth that lived between myth and memory. Some things can't be proven. They can only be felt. And every year, when the mist returns to the valley, and the wind moves through the bamboo, you can hear two faint voices whispering through the air, "I'll never let you fall, brother. And I'll never stop waiting." The legend says their spirits still guard the forest to this day, appearing to those who have lost hope, reminding them that love never dies, it only transforms. Bao and Lian, two souls bound by a promise stronger than time, became symbols of eternal brotherhood and the unseen miracles that hold the world together. Some call it folklore, some call it faith, but those who've walked the forest at dawn swear that if you listen closely, you'll hear laughter in the fog and feel a warmth on your shoulder, like someone who's been watching over you all along. Because real love doesn't fade when hearts stop beating. It simply changes shape, waiting to be recognized by the next lost soul who needs to believe again. What if death wasn't the end? What if love could cross worlds, turning tragedy into a miracle that defied time itself? Stay till the end of this story, because Panda Brother, a heartful story, will break your heart, then heal it in ways you never imagined. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more stories that touch the soul and remind you that some bonds never die.